Hey everybody, we're back with a little bit of a different kind of video. We're going to talk about a cult movie called Killdozer. What is a cult movie? Well, I don't know. It's hard to define exactly. But really what it is to me is a movie that seems to hold on beyond its expected life. And Killdozer was one of those 1974 movies, made-for-TV movies, that wasn't expected to last any length of time. It was just one of those things that they decided to make, and I don't know, it had sort of a certain charm. It certainly had a charm for me, growing up in the 70s, because I remember this movie. And, you know, not a lot of movies you remember from the 70s. This one stood out. And then as I got older and I read a lot of science fiction, I started to understand its origins and some of the reasons why it kind of became a cult classic in my thinking anyway. So let's get into this with a little bit of a intro to the movie. Let's do this. That's the intro to Killdozer. A meteorite crashes to Earth, and with it, an alien entity. So, I don't want to get too deeply into this show because the problem with me telling you everything about it is if you ever want to watch it, it ruins it. And I know the internet's all about ruining shows. Let me tell you, I've seen so many recap type things that I have no stomach for these recap shows because they just ruin it. There's like no reason why you'd ever want to watch a show after seeing an entire recap of the entire storyline. And now you've, like, what's the point of listening to it? What's the point of watching it? What's the point of seeing it at all? So I know this is something that's popular on YouTube. I'm not going to ever do it because I'm fundamentally opposed to that sort of thinking. But anyway, that's my rant. Yeah. So, getting back to the point. So what makes this a cult movie? Well, let me tell you, this movie is all about kind of like a bygone era. To me, it's awesome because, first of all, it starts out with a guy named Theodore Sturgeon. If you've ever heard of him, he's a pulp fiction writer who never made it past the pulp fiction era. So it started with a story he wrote in 1944. And Theodore Sturgeon's one of those classic science fiction writers who I quite like, because he represents a time period that he just never grew out of. Whereas other authors had to expand themselves and start making feature-length novels, he just stuck with, he couldn't really expand himself beyond the short story. But he was good at short stories, and a lot of his stuff is adaptable to movies and so on, based on just the quality of his imagination. And he was a decent guy. So, of course, Theodore Sturgeon wrote the story, and you know, it was converted into this movie in 1974. And I remember as a youngster watching this show back in the day. Now, I don't know if I saw it the original airing or a repeat, because these kind of things tended to repeat themselves over and over again. But what I remember is it was simple, and it had this idea of this killer bulldozer. And although the execution's pretty funny, I just love the 1940s attitudes. They're somehow being transferred into the 1970s, and yet it all just seems to work. These manly men stuck on this island, and they're just, they're kind of resolved to fight this killer bulldozer possessed by an alien entity. And of course, this is all headed up by recovering alcoholic Foreman Kelly, who just powers on through. And I mean, the manliness and the manliness and the machoism of this show, I love it. I just love it. Now, one of the things that I found interesting is Robert Urich, who later became famous for his Vegas show. He was the lead in a series called Vegas back in, I guess it was probably the 80s. That was probably, I think, his first role. Certainly the first role I ever saw him in. And he doesn't have a huge part in it, but he has sort of an introduction, and then he would later on make his, make a name for himself later on in 70s and 80s television before he passed away from, I believe he died of cancer. But anyway, yeah, he does an admirable job as an introduction. A lot of people hated this show. A lot of critics criticize it. I find it, I don't know. I mean, it's a piece of the 70s. It's paced like a 70s TV show. And if you know anything about 70s TV, its pacing is awful. The 70s did not know how to pace television effectively so that you could get real dramatic action and adventure. They kind of just plod along. And honestly, the Killdozer doesn't seem that dangerous throughout the show. But you know what? I love it. I love it. I just watched it. I haven't seen it in years and years, but I just sat through it, and I was working on some work I had to do late night here, and I thought, I'm going to play this. And then after I watched it, I thought, I love this show. It's got class. It's got a personality all its own. And I looked up this Wikipedia article, and I kind of thought, yeah, it is a cult show. It is a cult movie, and I'm going to put it up on the Internet Archive to save it to for other people to enjoy, because this is a classic. Anyway, guys, so I'm just throwing something up onto YouTube. I'm sure it won't. I'm sure it's not gonna not go viral or anything, but you know, just sharing something again with you guys that is probably, you know, I don't know. I've been thinking about this, and I think, you know, should I do something like this? Will anybody watch it? And my thinking is, and you know, I've had a few people who've commented that, you know, you make what you want to make, right? So that's what I'm making. I'm making what I want to make, and I hope somebody out there enjoys it. If you do enjoy it, hey, click a like on it, because then I know. If I don't get any likes, I kind of assume it's a failure. But anyway, this is it. This is my little video about Killdozer. So I hope you, you know, you can go to my Wikipedia page, and just a little secret, you can download the movie and watch it. But anyway, don't tell anybody I told you that, because, you know, there'll be problems from copyright, you know. But anyway, watch it for yourself, but watch it in the right mood. Don't expect much from it. Watch it while you're maybe like, hey, you got some work to do, and it's an easy plot to follow. You got some very cardboardy characters. If you ever read Pulp Fiction from the 40s, this captures the cardboardy characters, the ultra macho, manly people in this one. And I don't know, there's sort of a persona of the 70s and roles and all that stuff that I love about this show. So you can enjoy it for all your own. And I'm going to get it up on YouTube, or not on YouTube, on archive, on the Internet Archive, for anybody who wants to watch it. So that's going to be it, guys. This is it. My Killdozer video. Hope you're having a good evening, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.